We all have one question. Who are the Anunnaki?
The Anunnaki is arguably one of the greatest mysteries of our ancient history and our past.
We have to ask, who were the gods? The gods were extraterrestrials.
Join me in this grand odyssey and discovery as we seek to uncover the hidden truths of the Anunnaki.
By studying the Anunnaki, we truly unlock the secrets within ourselves at the same time.
We are the offsprings of extraterrestrials, and that's not coincidence.
This is the saga of the Anunnaki and their ancient secrets revealed. All right, what's up? Billy Carson here, aka Forbidden Knowledge. That is my new docu-series, Anunnaki Ancient Secrets Revealed, and it actually is fully out. The full season can be watched right now on the Forbidden Knowledge TV app. Shout out to everybody in the live chat, filling up the chat today. I'm just popping in for you guys on another pop-up podcast, and we're going to talk about elongated skulls of the Anunnaki. Okay, we're going to talk about the difference between skull binding and a naturally formed elongated skull. We'll talk about cranial mass, and we'll talk about the reduction of cranial mass with this method. And when I get done, hopefully you'll see there is a difference between cranial deformation and a true elongated skull with more brain capacity. All right. So make sure you guys click the like button and make sure you share the video so we can get this algorithm going. All right. A lot of great people already filling up in the live chat. T Funny's in the house. James, Josh, Four Souls, JJ, Emmett Lunch, who else we got here? Reekin Strong, Pavoli Snow, Purple, Divine 3. All right, appreciate y'all. All right, so let's click the like button. Let's share the video. Let's get the algorithm going. Let's go ahead and see if we can get this video to get out there to more people so they can see it, hear it, understand it, discern it, and possibly then begin to research it. All right. So tonight we're going to talk about these elongated skulls. And it's one of the biggest topics to me that's really been overlooked. It's kind of been swept under the rug. I think that mainstream archaeology has stamped on it, their debunking method of just stating that these are just deformation skulls or deformed skulls, in other words. And we'll show you some images here shortly that when kids were born, to these particular royal bloodlines of rulers over different villages and cultures, that they honored the gods by binding the skull to give them a elongated shaped skull, which they were doing actually in honor of the gods and also declaring their lineage to those gods. So when we get into this tonight, I should say, I think you'll begin to see it's nothing but a giant cargo cult. Okay, nothing but a giant cargo cult, and we'll talk about what a cargo cult is as well. Okay, so let me pull up something here real quick because I want to also make sure you guys have the link to the Anunnaki TV series, which you can watch on the Forbidden Knowledge TV app. It's actually trending as one of the top shows right now on Forbidden Knowledge TV. It's actually in number 2. It was hung on to number 1 spot for quite a while. It flickers between number 1 and number 2 on the trending on the Forbidden Knowledge TV app. Let me come back in here and drop you guys the link to Anunnaki. Okay. Anunnaki Ancient Secrets. And just drop this here in the live chat for you guys. So you can go and watch it and check it out. Go binge watch it. All right. I'm dropping the link now. Boom. Okay. So here goes the link. I'm driving into the live chat. You can watch the entire series right here. All right. Thank y'all for all the great comments, by the way, in the live chat. I appreciate all y'all. Love you guys. You guys are the best leaders that exist. I don't have followers. I have leaders. And I appreciate every single one of y'all, even if I can't get to you or give you the shout out every single time. But I just definitely appreciate y'all. Make sure that you go get that Forbidden Knowledge, with the number 4 TV app on Apple, iOS App Store, Apple TV, Google Play, Roku, Samsung, LG TV, Android TV, pretty much everywhere. Just get the app, the Forbidden Knowledge TV app. All right. And go ahead and watch Anunnaki Ancient Secrets Revealed. Okay. So anyway, now, by the way, somebody said you lost the debate you were supposed to win. Actually, no, I didn't lose the debate that I was supposed to win. Sia Sung Wusha. I didn't lose any debate that I was supposed to win. I actually won the debate. If you watch several videos made by PhDs and doctors in Assyriology and in theology, and a 33-year former archdeacon of the church that used to open up churches worldwide, you'll find out that they analyzed the entire video, broke it down, and discovered that I was actually right and the other guy was actually lying. And they proved it in the video several times. So you, Mr. Sia, have not gone and researched the debate. You took what this guy said as the word of God. You didn't even say, you know what, this guy seems like he may have said some things here. Let me go look them up and see if he's actually right. No, you didn't do it. Nobody did. Everyone just started making comments without going to research and figure out if this guy was actually right or wrong. And guess what? I was right. And now those doctors and those PhDs and those pastors are coming down here to meet with me in April. And we're going to create an actual little mini documentary on this. And we're going to break down this knowledge and break down this biblical text from an academic standpoint. And then I'm going to put that on Forbidden Knowledge TV and also Amazon Prime Video. All right. It's going on Forbidden Knowledge TV and Amazon Prime Video. That's right, 4Soul78. Paul Wallace had my back. Shout out to Paul Wallace, former 33-year archdeacon in the church, a pastor who traveled around the world and opened churches and taught pastors how to run their own churches. So he's actually in America right now. He's actually headed to Colorado to film at Gaia with, I think, Regina Meredith on Open Minds. So shout out to Paul Wallace. And I'm looking forward to having the crew here in my studio so that we can record this amazing little documentary breaking down the actual information and the facts and exposing and debunking the falsehoods of these people that seek to deceive you and to trick you into believing absolute trash and garbage. And that's where we stand. See, I'm not sick anymore. I'm fully healthy now. I'm not sick anymore. My pneumonia's gone. My lungs are healed. I'm at 100% strength now. I'm not, before when you saw that video, I was super dark black. I was blacker than this shirt. I wasn't black because I had a suntan. I was black like that because I didn't have any oxygen going into my doggone body. So typically when a lighter skinned person, like a Caucasian person, is deprived of oxygen, you turn blue or purple. So, of course, since I'm dark, when I have a lack of oxygen, I turn darker, black. So I appear darker. You saw that I was really pitch black, and that's because I had a lack of oxygen. And even under a lack of oxygen, even coming off my deathbed from pneumonia, I still got the answers right. And he deceived you people into believing I was wrong with his hoopla and his garbage talk and his word salad. But guess what? All truth will come to light. All darkness always comes to light. And people have been tearing his ass apart ever since. and breaking all of his trash and all of his garbage. Even those lies he told Joe Rogan on the Joe Rogan podcast, a bunch of trash. So it's all going to get exposed. It's all going to get. It's nothing but dogma, and it's nothing. And they proved how evil they are. They proved it. How did they prove it? Well, they proved it by death threats, racial slurs, attacking, threats of aggressive attack. Right? Those are the people that are supposed to be waiting on Jesus to return. What a joke. What an absolute joke. Anyway, let's get on with the show tonight. All right. We got 1,258 people in the house across all these platforms that we're spread across right now. All right. 1,258, 23 on X. That number's got to build up. Usually there's a lot more. X might be getting attacked again. X has been getting attacked like crazy recently, getting pinged down, DOS attacks, which has been reducing the amount of engagement on X. We got, of course, this YouTube account, Billy Carson Facebook, Forbidden Knowledge Facebook, the Billy C. Carson page on Facebook, Anunnaki History on Facebook. And we have another X account as well. That one has 644 and that other X that I've got. So we're good. Okay. We're good. We're good. We're good. All right. Yes. So yeah, Devin, Gene, you're right. You know, but guess what? They gave me their hardest blow. And guess what? I'm still here. We still here. They gave it their best shot. They literally gave it their best shot, and it wasn't enough. They came up short once again, just like they always will, because karma is real. All right. So tonight we're talking about the mystery of the elongated skulls. The mystery of the elongated skulls. All right. And like I said before at the very beginning, I was just trying to let more people get into the live. There is this quote unquote debunking by the mainstream that there's no such thing as an elongated skull that's not human, that they are just humans that have performed something called a ritual called skull deformation. And let me show you what that looks like. Check this out. Okay. You're looking at right here a tribe woman who you can see not only is her skull elongated, but also she's got bandages on the skull of her baby. Now, they do this from birth because obviously from birth, the parietal plates are softer, the skull bone is softer, and so they're able to direct the skull into this cone shape by binding the skull. I got to imagine in some way, in some fashion, that definitely has to create headaches and pain and suffering. But this is what's been done, okay? This is what's been done, and this is called skull binding. This is deformation of the actual skull to get it to look like this cone shape. I want you to pay attention to something about the shape of this skull. You'll notice that it goes into a point in the back. In other words, it's coning almost like an egg shape. Okay? It's very important for you to notice the shape of this deformed skull, or these deformed skulls. These are several different people. Okay? Pay attention to that, because it's very, very important to recognize that by doing skull deformation, you reduce the cranial capacity. You don't increase it, you reduce it. Okay? By skull binding, you reduce, not expand, you reduce the cranial capacity. Well known and well documented. Okay? So why would they do something like this? Why would they do something like this? Well, if you remember some of the podcasts and shows that I've done and TV series that I've been on talking about cargo cults, right? Cargo cults. What's a cargo cult? Well, I'll give you an example of one. I talk about this in Anunnaki Ancient Secrets Revealed. So make sure you guys go and watch the TV series or the docu-series on my TV network. I dropped a link in the chat a little bit earlier, okay? I'll drop it in the live chat one more time. Well, let's go back to the atolls, the islands in the South Pacific. Well, around the time that the U.S. was working on developing and testing the nuclear bomb they decided to go on down to the atolls where they had some indigenous tribes living on those little tiny islands. And they said, you know, we'd like to blow up a nuke out here and test it out. So we're going to come to this island and we're going to find these people who had never seen outsiders before. We're going to give them some trinkets and give them some food and some clothing. And then we're going to let them know that we have to relocate them because we're about to blow up this whole place. A nuke. It might be dangerous. So the Americans show up down in the South Pacific, and they show up in airplanes, right? Seaplanes, and they land, and they hop in boats, and they come ashore. And the tribesmen are just like mind blown because, first of all, they have never had any outside contact with any other people. They're still living in pretty much closest to ancient times as you can think of, right? They may have had some advancements over time, but not many. And all of a sudden, an airplane, which can be to them a UFO, and then these ships that come ashore with powered motors, they've never seen that before, made of steel. And then they've got this cargo that they offload onto the beach. And this cargo, they open it, and inside these containers are all sorts of trinkets that they've never seen before that appear to be magical. Lighters, right? Cans of Spam, actual cans of Spam, which was a huge trading thing that they gave them. They gave them Spam. Clothing and other trinkets and gadgets, right? Camping gadgets and so forth. And, walkie-talkies and so forth. Just blew their mind. These people were so blown away by what they witnessed and what they had partook in with the Americans that they actually began to tattoo USA on their chest. They tattooed USA on their chest. This is after the Americans left. They revered them as gods because and according to them, they had godlike technology. They didn't believe it was, man-made. They thought it was all spiritual. They believed these people were gods. And so in order to get these gods to come back, they did several things. They tattooed USA across the chest. They took reeds and sticks and made them to look like rifles and guns, automatic weapons. They organized themselves like troops and would march through their territory. They also cleared out what looked like a runway, all right? And then they built an actual airplane, a replica of what they saw land and come up to in the water with the pontoons on it. They built one of those at the edge of the runway out of sticks, reeds, and whatever else they could find on the island. They made a replica of one of the seaplanes. And they would line up and sit down along the runway, staring up at the sky for hours every day, praying for the sky gods to return with more cans of Spam. That's called a cargo cult. Because why? Because we gave them cargo and they became a cult after us, thinking and revering us as gods, simply because we had more knowledge and we had technology. This is exactly what happened in the ancient past. This is my theory, my hypothesis, whatever you want to call it, based on research and physical evidence that's all around the planet. These people were revered as gods, and they revered them as gods simply because they couldn't understand the knowledge and the technology. The same thing happened in the ancient past, which is when these beings called the Anunna, or, of course, the Anunnaki, they have several names all around the world. They came and engaged mankind at some point in the ancient past. I personally believe that some of them had these elongated skulls, and I'll show you why shortly and tell you why, based on actual physical evidence. And again, when these beings left, at some point we know for a fact they left. They always said they will be back at some point in the future. The people that were closely highly regarded by them, that allowed them, that maybe worked along with them to help rule over the masses of people, like pharaohs, kings, queens, leaders of the village, whatever. They decided to start skull binding to basically attribute themselves or link or align themselves with that what they call the holy bloodline. So the skull binding or the deformation ritual was not allowed to be done by everyone in the village or in the tribe. That was forbidden. It was only allowed by the higher ups, the leaders, right? The king, the queen, the village leaders, whatever names they had for them. They were the only ones allowed to perform this ritual because they were the only ones, according to them, directly connected to the gods. Okay? And that's why they did this to their skulls. I'll show you the photo again real quick. This is a ritual done to honor the gods and to establish themselves as leaders or high elite in their village or their clan or their tribe. And I'm saying many different versions of that because this occurred all over the world. That's another part they forget to tell you. How in the world can people around the planet start doing the same exact thing all around the same time? It's just happenstance, just coincidence? No, it's not a coincidence. They're doing it simply because they witnessed and were engaged by beings that had skulls that were huge, and they wanted to align themselves with them. Maybe they were even taught or told to do this so that when we return, we'll know your bloodline. These Anunnaki beings, sometimes they were good, but sometimes they were just downright sadistic people, man. They would give these people all kind of things to do that were just asinine, and the people would do them because, I mean, they don't know any better. We didn't know any better, you know? So let's dig into it a little bit. Let's go into some of the actual archaeological reports on the difference between a human skull and some of these elongated skulls, okay? I think that's important for you to understand. Let's first start by talking about Paracas Skull number 44, okay? Paracas Skull number 44, I'm going to pull it up here. It's one of my first posts on Instagram. If you go back, if you have the ability to scroll all the way back to the very first post I made on Instagram in 2011, December of 2011, I believe it was, it's going to be this image right here, okay? You're going to see this skull. This skull is cataloged. It's a well-documented elongated skull, and if you notice, it doesn't look anything like the skull from the deformation ritual that I showed you earlier with those 3 different women and the baby. Okay, this Paracas skull, it's called skull number 44, was discovered in Paracas region. And this elongated skull is missing a sagittal suture. Okay? It's missing the sagittal suture. Now, what is that? The sagittal suture is where the skull comes together, almost like, you know, we're such fractals. We're fractals of the earth. The earth itself has tectonic plates that come together, right? And the human skull has these sutures that come together, these parietal plates that come together. But that skull I just showed you, if you look at a normal human skull, doesn't have it. So let me pull one up here. All right. Now, these are 2 skulls. This is kind of heavy. And both of these skulls have the parietal plates because some of these Paracas skulls had incredible brain mass, but they also in some way seem to be hybrids and had the sagittal sutures. They had this, they had it. They had the plates. Look at the human skull right here, and you can see the sagittals here, the sutures. You can see the parietal plates. This large skull, this Paracas skull, you can see it as well. This is one of my collections here, okay? Now, the difference between the skull you see here in my hand, in my own hand that I'm holding, and the one you saw in the image is that, number one, the skull mass is far more significant. It's bulbous. You can't get this kind of mass from binding a skull. Okay? We're talking about much more capacity to hold more brain, which means these people potentially were significantly more intelligent and much smarter. Most likely had huge pineal glands. Huge. Look at the jaw structure. The jaw structure compared to the human jaw is significantly more pronounced. The eye sockets are deeper. Okay? It's humanoid-ish, but definitely not human. Okay? Now, the one that I just showed you, let me put this down before I drop it. This thing's heavy. Hold on. Okay. All right. So the one that I showed you earlier, number 44, doesn't even have the the sutures. It's missing. Now let me tell you. Let's read what happened with this skull. It lacks the typical two parietal bones, instead exhibiting one single. It has one single large parietal plate. Features, basically, it differs significantly from a human skull. It has an elongated shape that some believe is not solely the result of artificial cranial deformation. DNA analysis, yes, they've tested it. Okay. The test suggests that the mitochondrial DNA, the mtDNA, has mutations not found in known human, primate, or Neanderthal genomes. Let me read that again. The mitochondrial DNA, the mtDNA, has mutations not found in known human, primate, or Neanderthal genomes. Initial reports claim the skull's lineage might have originated from a non-native population. That's their way of saying alien. That's their way of saying not from Earth. They call it a non-native population. Okay? They say it's a non-native population. I'm telling you. These skulls, and they've now found hundreds of these skulls all over the world. They're not just in Peru. They're in Africa. They're in Europe. They're in Australia. They're everywhere. These beings, these people, were all over the planet at one time with these huge brains, massive brains. Okay? Let's take a look at another incredible skull. I want to show you the Chongos Skull. The Chongos Skull, which I talked about on Twitter a few weeks ago and it went viral. Okay? Let me pull up the image of the Chongos for you. This skull is man. You thought this skull I had over here was huge. Where do you see this one? This skull is massive. Now you see how it expands toward the back? Skull binding reduces toward the back. It doesn't expand. Let's read what the science article has to say about the Chongos skull. Okay. Here we go. Pulling it up now. Tolichenga Sofla is located about 30 miles south of the town of Benahan, on the easternmost fringes of Kazakhstan province. This site was first discovered in 1970 by Hans Nissen and his colleagues from the Oriental Institute of the University of Chicago. Okay, so they say that one of several archaeologists named Abbas Moghadam leading the excavation, in his report titled Tolichenga Sofla Cemetery, a phenomenon in the context of the late 5th millennium southwest Iran, stated that these natural elongated skulls feature a much larger jawbone and eye sockets that are up to 50% larger than a normal human skull. And he says that these are also missing the sagittal suture with fibrous connective tissue joints between the two parietal plates that run down the center back of our skulls. Many of these elongated skulls and cranial volume is up to 25% larger than conventional human skulls. Okay? 25% larger. That's the Chongos skull. So what they're telling us is, straight up, these are real archaeologists and real mainstream scientists, that skull I just showed you with that 25% more cranial capacity, they said it's not skull deformation, and how they said it wasn't was because they said it's natural. In other words, the person grew like that naturally without deformation, without skull binding. Okay, mainstream. This should be on every news station all around the world right now. Every TV station, instead of showing what's going on with Trump and Elon Musk and Biden and Kamala and all these people, instead of showing all this other craziness going on, they should be showing us this. This is more important to me than anything else going on right now. And I've been talking about this for over a decade, and it's still never really caught on. People haven't really seen. They keep saying, well, where are they? Well, they're right here. Let's read a little bit more about this, the Chongos skull. A few skulls, such as the Chongos skull in the ICA Museum, has approximately 50% more cranial mass. Here's the key. Cranial deformation can certainly change the shape of the skull, but it cannot add more cranial mass or volume to a skull. Some of these elongated skulls found at Tola Chonga also appear to be natural elongated skulls as well. And you can go to the museum and you can see it for yourself. Because why? Because it is, it's in a museum. It's an actual artifact, well documented by mainstream. Okay, well documented. 50%. Can you imagine having a skull 50% larger? Can you imagine having a skull 50% larger, a brain mass? Imagine making your brain double the size it is right now. I mean, even if we're only using a percentage of our brain right now, double that, and you'll be smarter automatically. Your intelligence will rise significantly. Imagine your ability for things like psychic abilities, telekinesis, higher levels of empathy, right? All these things, all these what we call supernatural abilities, all become just standard everyday things because we have access to more brain mass. And I'll be doing a video very soon on the fact that scientists discovered that psychic abilities and telekinesis and all these things are pretty much standard hardwired into the brain. We just forgot how to access it. That'll be a video I have coming up very soon. But that skull is massive, and the genetic testing say they didn't say non-human, but they very carefully label it as non-native. Okay, non-native. That's what they say. Let's see, we have another one here. The Paracas necropolis skull. Found in Paracas necropolis, a burial site with over 300 elongated skulls. So we're talking about a population here. We're not talking about a one-off. We're not talking about a rare sighting of some being or someone with a big skull showing up. Oh, just probably a birth defect. 300 were discovered in one burial site in one location. The absence of the sagittal suture. So again, it's missing. Non-human. Cranial volume 25 times larger than a human skull. A single parietal plate with unusual bone density. Okay? It's just incredible. And again, we're talking about evidence of beings that are non-native. In other words, they're not of this world. All right? They're not of this world. They're something else. And I mean, I could just keep it going on. You know, we have the Star Child skull, which became extremely famous at one point. The skull has genetic sequences unknown to the human genome. Again, more DNA tests was done by several different sources genetic sequences unknown to the human genome. Again, that's a fancy way of saying not human. And if you're not human, then you're something else. But again, more brain mass, more cranial mass. So if you ever had a question about whether these beings existed, if you ever had a question whether or not, you could tell by the jaws, the size of the jawbone from the one I held up, that this being had to be huge. And it couldn't be, I'm 6'4". This guy had to be at least 8 to 10 feet tall, at least, just based on the size of the jawbone and the skull. If you want to make an anatomically correct version of a person out of it, it's going to be very huge and very strong as well. Extremely strong, very, very strong. So, and these skulls have also been found in Africa. Let's take a look at what the ancient Egyptians left behind. This is Pharaoh Akhenaten's daughter, Mekheteten. All right. This is his daughter. That's the skull. That's inside the actual museum. That's not the actual skull. I'm sorry. That's the bust. That's the replication bust that they made. In other words, this is original work, but the artist from thousands of years ago, I guess he had her sit down and he made this image of her. So it is ancient. It is in the museum. But this is the depiction of the skull. Look at the bulbous area in the back of the skull. Do you see how huge that is? This is the pharaoh's daughter. One of his daughters, actually, just one of them. All of his kids have these huge skulls. Okay. Here's Pharaoh Akhenaten. You can see by the headdresses that they wore that if you take these elongated skulls and put them inside these headdresses that they wore, they fit perfectly. Because most likely, this is what was underneath those hats, those crowns, huge skulls. This Queen Nefertiti image you see on the lower right box, that's not AI, that's not a replica or some type of graphic art. That's what's in the museum. Queen Nefertiti's head. This artistic rendering of her head made out of stone. This is what they created for her. Why would they create this? Well, because that's how big her head was. Okay, here we go again. Like I said, you can go to the museum and see these. When I take people to Egypt, we go to the museum and we look at this stuff in person. We go to several museums and we check this stuff out. And we research it and we analyze it. Okay? And by the way, we're going back again in October. So if you want to come with us to Egypt, I just dropped a link in the live chat. If you want to come to Egypt with us and see these things in person, we will take you to a place that has pharaohs. Of course, these pharaohs have passed away, but you're going to see their mummified remains, and you're going to see their skulls fully exposed. And you're going to look at them through a glass display, because obviously we can't touch them, but you'll be this close to them. You'll be inches away from their heads, and you'll see the skull shape. And you'll see some have dreadlocks. Some have afros. Some have straight hair. Some have blonde hair. But one thing you'll see consistent is the skull. I just dropped the link in the live chat. If you want to come hang out and see these amazing things with me and many more, a full forbidden tour of Egypt as we go all over Egypt researching. We're not going to Egypt to just have fun. We're going there to learn. And on this tour, you have lectures. There'll be 6 lectures that you'll sit in. Each lecture an hour to 2 hour long. And on the sites, you'll be getting taught information, real knowledge. We'll show you how to do research in the field. And at the end of the tour, everyone will get a certificate of completion that you could put in a nice certificate frame when you get home. Okay? Because it's a real tour. It's real knowledge. It's not the fake mainstream trash that they feed you when you show up as a tourist. And we only take people on super VIP tours. So that means we take you to sites on private visits where we're the only ones there. No other tourists are allowed in. No other tour guides are allowed in. It's just us. Super VIP. And we take you all over Egypt. We fly you from Cairo to Luxor. We fly you from Luxor back to Cairo. We take you on the Nile. We cruise you down the Nile, and it's all included. Of course, and all the food is 5-star, and all the food's included as well. And when we do have to stay in a hotel, we stay in the Four Seasons. Okay? It's a super high-level VIP tour, full of knowledge, full of excitement. And if you want to do that, you got to come to Egypt with us. I'll drop the link again. If you missed this live, the link is in the caption of this video. Make sure you guys register for the Forbidden Tour of Egypt ASAP. It's coming up quick. It's almost sold out. It's coming up in October. There's only about 7 spots left on the tour. So make sure you guys register ASAP. All right, let's get back to the talk. So I showed you those skulls there, right? I mean, this is what we're talking about. We're talking about massive skulls sitting inside of these crowns and these headdresses. Okay? These people were hybrids, in my personal opinion. That's Billy Carson's opinion, that these pharaohs were hybrids. Not all of them, but the ones going back. There's a lineage of these hybrids, in my opinion. You see, when you research the Sumerian tablets, you discover that before the Great Flood, you look at the Sumerian kings list, located in the Ashmolean Museum in Oxford, England. On that Sumerian kings list, it has a list of kings that ruled over this planet for thousands and thousands of years. Then, all of a sudden, the Great Flood comes. When the Great Flood comes, kingship, according to this tablet, is handed down to people. So they would use the pharaoh as the liaison between them and the rest of the population. Headquarters were moved from Iraq and Mesopotamia, going all the way up and through Turkey and all that region, and shifted and moved over to Kemet, ancient Kemet, after the flood. Prior to the flood, Kemet had already reached a high level of civilization and was working in collusion with these other incredible capitals all around the world. But then when the flood came, for whatever reason, the people who ruled from Mesopotamia decided to kickstart and rebuild, starting out in Kemet first. And Thoth talks about that. He says that he went there to rebuild or bring Kem back up to a high level of civilization after the flood. So they go there and they do this. Okay? So there's no surprise that we should find these massive skulls everywhere. There's no surprise that mummies would have elongated skulls. It doesn't surprise me at all. We're talking about a global race of beings that existed on this planet at one point in the ancient past, that influenced cultures all around the world and created cargo cults. After the Great Flood, they most likely made it with people in some way, or genetically tinkered with people in some way to create this ruling race that we call kings and queens, pharaohs, and so forth, that were in this lineage, that they were the liaison between the population and the quote-unquote gods with a lowercase g. Okay? And that's what happened. And, we really were ruled over these people for quite some time. And a lot of the tactics and the laws and everything they put in place is still running the planet till this very day. I mean, still to this day. They installed the bicameral Congress. They installed fiat currency. They installed polytricks. All these things were put in place a very, very long time ago. And today we're still feeling the effects of it and still living through that, those rules and parameters that were set up hundreds of thousands of years ago, actually. We're still living it today. But people say, where's the evidence that these people existed? Well, the evidence is all around us. The evidence is sitting in actual museums. Actual real skulls like this one are sitting in museums. Real skulls like this one are sitting in actual museums. A supermassive skull with 25% more grain capacity with one parietal plate is sitting in a museum. And people say, well, where are they? Well, there they go. That's the evidence. They were here. Okay? They were definitely here. There's no doubt about it. And so there's a lot to be discovered on this planet. A lot. We're talking about the ring city of Atlantis. That was part of these beings' civilization. The ring city was one city, one capital of dozens of capitals that existed on Earth at the same time. You go into Texas and Mexico to the Aztlan Wall. That was part of Atlantis. You go into the Bosnian Valley, where the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun is located. That was Atlantean. Of course, you go to Egypt, other parts of Africa, South America. It doesn't matter where you go on this planet. You're going to find, even into China and Japan, you're going to find evidence of this ancient Atlantean civilization that ruled over Earth with high technology at some time in the distant past. And the evidence that they were here has been left around on these with these megalithic structures, as well as physical evidence and now DNA testing to show that beings are sitting inside of the remains of beings are sitting inside of museums that have non-native DNA, that have non-human DNA. And people keep going, where are they? Where show me the proof. The proof is right around the corner. You hop on a plane with me, we can go there and see it together. All right? They were here. They influenced us. Some masqueraded as gods because they had the capability to, because people would worship them because they had more knowledge and advanced technology. Imagine right now, you have on your meta glass. I don't have I've got my meta glasses here. It's my meta glasses, right? My meta glasses, you put them on and you talk to the glasses, and the glasses go online and come back with the answers. And now there's AI in them. So it can give you a complete dissertation. It can give you a complete whatever. You can get a whole presentation out of the damn thing. You can see somebody sick and you can ask the glasses what potential cures or how this person can treat this injury or this illness. And then the glasses will come back and give you the answer. Imagine you have these glasses on and you go visit a culture that has never seen another human being outside of their own village. And somebody's there with an illness and you diagnose it with the glasses, and then you get the answer on how to cure that illness with the glasses. They don't know it's the glasses. They don't know it's the internet and the chat GPT and the AI and the web and blah, 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 blah. All they know is you came with the answers like this and you healed this person like this. Now you're God. In their eyes, you're God. Literally, you're God now. And as soon as you leave, they're going to make an altar. They're going to burn incense. They're going to sacrifice virgins. They're going to do all this crazy stuff in your name. It's called a cargo cult. That's what all the religions on this planet are. All of them. They're cargo cults. Christianity, all of it. It's all cargo cult. One giant cargo cult. Catholicism, cargo cult. It's all cargo cult. All of it. People were engaged by beings that had more advanced knowledge, that claimed to be not from this world, according to the text in their books. They say, we are not from this world, alien. And then what happened? They put these rules and so forth in place. They sadistically tinkered with mankind. They kept us at odds with each other, fighting, wanting to fight and kill each other. For eons, we've been attacking each other and killing each other over this religious garbage, trash. And it worked. It worked. And the most recent evidence of it is the attack that was just done on me not too long ago by these same crazy zealot people. They're crazy. They're psychopathic. The innate evil that's inside of them is so dark that it probably has an effect on every being in the known universe. That's why we have to eradicate it from this planet. We have to eradicate the disease of this dogma from the planet. And I'm not going to stop until I do that. Okay? Anyway, guys, I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. Thanks for hopping on here tonight on this pop-up Forbidden Knowledge podcast. Again, if you want to go to Egypt, I'm dropping a link one more time. And oh, don't forget, we have the Conscious Awards coming up, the Forbidden Conscious Awards coming up in just a few months in August. If you want to come down to South Florida, hang out with us, we have an amazing show scheduled, an amazing award ceremony, and a huge, huge free weekend where you can come down to our Tech Hall Day. We have the most amazing biohacking technologies, supplements, and health and wellness people from the largest vendors in the industry coming down to the event. And we're going to host a free 1.5 day tech opening. So there'll be a tech day in the first day, another half day the second day. But during the tech days, you can come do a meet and greet. This is all free. You can experience all these amazing modalities and spiritual technologies. You can also come do the meet and greet with us and many other incredible people, thought leaders from all around the world. Book signing is free. And we're giving free lectures as well. So it's all going to cost you, guess what? $0. So I'll drop you the link right now so you guys can register and come on down to the Forbidden Conscious Awards 2025, August 2nd and 3rd in Miami, Florida. You don't want to miss it. Let me get the link to the website so you guys can register. We do have a couple things going on outside of that. We have the actual award ceremony, okay? So you can get tickets to the award ceremony. That's going to be Sunday evening. And if you want to come hang out with us, last year we had a great yacht party. We had 300 people with us on the yacht the day before the Conscious Awards. And it was amazing. We partied, we danced, we sang. We had a great time. And that was right there. We sailed it right out of Miami and took it around. And we had about 300 people, a great plated dinner. The food was amazing. A great chef and staff we had on that yacht. So if you want to come hang out with us, you want to learn more about coming to the free tech day and getting the book signing and everything else, the link is I just dropped the link in the live chat, and the link is also in the caption of this video. All right, so make sure you guys click that link and sign up and register ASAP, and make sure you get your tickets to the award show. We're giving out 15 incredible awards to the most amazing people on this planet, and you help vote for them. So you can go to that link I dropped, and you can actually check out the nominees and vote for the ones you think should win. You have an actual impact on who gets the awards. We give out these 10-pound crystal trophies. They're pyramids, quartz crystal pyramids. They weigh 10 pounds each. And the Lifetime Achievement Award is 22 pounds, all crystal, okay? We give them real awards. It's not giving them a piece of plastic. And you have amazing performances by music artists. Just an amazing show. The last 2 years, if anyone has been there, they can tell you it's been amazing. It's been mind-blowing. It's called the Conscious Grammys now. They call it the Conscious Grammys. It's a red carpet, black tie affair. So dress to impress. Last year, we gave away 2 Mercedes-Benzes to 2 people in the audience, random seats. This year, we're going to figure out something else that we're going to give away. We think we're going to give away a free tour to Egypt, okay? So click those links. I dropped them in the live chat. I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. Again, it's also in the caption of this video. I got to go. I got some more stuff I got to do this evening. But thanks for hopping on and spending some time with me tonight. Peace. Oh, let me drop this outro video because I got a great outro video for you guys to check out as well. And I want to make sure you guys check this out. All right, here we go. In an era shrouded in the midst of time, within the vast expanse of an uncharted cosmos, emerged the genesis of humankind. How did the odyssey of humanity begin? What secrets lie within our primordial roots? As I began to research ancient cultures, I discovered something quite interesting. Most of these ancient cultures all believe that life originated in the Pleiades. When you look at the indigenous North Americans, the Mayans, the Aboriginal tribes of Australia, the Egyptians, and even the Japanese, they all claim that they were seeded on this planet by people from the Pleiades. How can people separated by so many thousands of miles in different continents have the same exact story? There must be some fact rooted in the myth. This is the saga of the Anunnaki and their ancient secrets revealed.